We were talking about the status of women in Pakistan, and I gave you an introduction to that. Let's talk about what are the legal measures taken in Pakistan. We must appreciate, and it is very interesting that since independence, Pakistan has formulated laws to protect women, to give them security. At time of foundation, there were little legal distinction between the rights of men and women enjoyed. But the Constitution of Pakistan very clearly, lucidly says there shall be no discrimination on the basis of sex alone. Steps shall be taken to ensure full participation of women in all spheres of national life. The state shall protect the marriage, the family, the mother, and the child. And it's very clear here. And from then onwards, there were different laws made. Women Commission was made in order to improve the situation of women in Pakistan. But unfortunately, the radicalization of the state has divested the country of an environment which is required for the actual implementation of these various legislations and in turn to protect the female population. Most of these laws remain on paper, sadly, as the country's enforcement apparatus remains on the one hand stretched to its limited dealing with a deluge of terrorism and enveloping crime, and on the other indifferent to the plight of women with a society that remains parochial and deeply committed to a religious and political ideology that denies equality to women and seeks to exclude them from the public sphere. The last one seems to have some truth in it. The social status of women in Pakistan, as we know, it has its own disparity and heterogeneity in terms of social status, economic development, rural-urban divide. Other factors for miserable plight of women are problem with legal system, religious extremism, and abuse of a religion. So we have to really understand that how a life of a woman is seen in a social context. She is a daughter, she is a sister, she is a wife, and everywhere her role is more idealized than giving it a practical composition. It is considered that a woman can neither be a provider nor a protector, and it results in discrimination and violence. And I'm sure you people will agree that the situations have changed surprisingly different. And apart from this family business, the feudal system in society has also caused severe antipathy towards Zameen and towards Zan and towards Zar. These are the three very strong traditions or words in our feudal system: Zan, Zar, Zameen. Such terms are used as a tool to put blame on the women and not on men in case of any undesirable behavior on the part of men. So a woman's behavior, when seen as to threaten the patriarchal order, it is her body that is punished with beatings, burnings, physical and verbal abuse, and even murder in the name of honor. Women do experience dominant forms of social evils at times under the garb of religion and sometimes as part of customs. The annual report of the National Commission on the Status of Women provides a detailed profile of various indicators for appalling situations of women in Pakistan. Now the traditions, let's talk about them. One tradition is called Gog Force Marriage. In a country where majority of the people are driven by dogmatic interpretation of local customs, and not only dogmatic interpretation of local customs, but at that level of religion also, marriage by force is not uncommon. Under Islamic law, women cannot be forced to marry anyone without consent. However, Gog is a heinous practice that undermines the basic tenets of Islam. And Gog is sort of a custom, usage, tradition, or practice whereby a person forcefully demands or claims the hand of a woman without her own or her parents' consent. by making an open declaration either by words spoken or written or by visible representation. In such cases, no other man is supposed to make a marriage proposal to her or marry her. Then the cause of another is honor killing. And it has become an acceptable social evil by the community and the state's judicial system as a legitimate defense for murder. This is an irony in a society which guards its honor by prohibiting women in almost every aspect of life, but at the same time shamelessly dishonor her by killing, raping, throwing acid, burning, abducting. The regional variations of these honor killings are known as Karokari in Sindh, Siyakari in Balochistan, Kalakali in Punjab, and Tortora in tribal areas of Northwest. Then the brides are also sold. Tribal areas of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, girls are sold as brides under the custom of Walwar. And more than that is that she can be offered as compensation for damage to life and property. Thus she can be given as Khoon Baha or blood money, called Savara among the Pashtuns, to compensate for murder. And then the Vatta Satta is a terrible custom, another marriage transaction in which a man can acquire a wife by offering a woman that belongs to him, a daughter or a sister. Then there are dowry deaths. If a woman comes, a bride rather, comes with a dowry which is not liked by the in-laws or the husbands, and the Bridal and Dowry Gift Restriction Act of 1976 does not make any difference to them, then she would be punished for that, or maybe sometimes not only abused physically or verbally, but even killed. Most of the burning cases are there. Then the acid attacks, they are common in Pakistan. If men do not like something, they would simply throw acid to women to deform their life forever. The Qanun-e-Shahadat under General Ziaul Haq's Hudud ordinance was that woman was not given the equity level of Qanun-e-Shahadat. And if we come to think about the political situation along with this, the social conditions of Pakistani women has an underpinning on the political aspect as well. And these political things are restrictive mindset that work against the very basic tenet of Islam. And so one has to understand that women are basically sometimes allowed to participate in mutual consultations known as shura, but it is not happening in Pakistan. These miserable societal norms result in a systematic exclusion of women from political participation and assertion of their respective political choices. On papers, the Constitution of Pakistan places no restriction on women's participation in politics. Nevertheless, their presence in the political parties as well as in the political structure at the local, provincial and national level remains insignificant due to cultural and structural barriers. We have to realize that on paper things are beautiful, but in practice they are never taken into consideration. But there is a positive trend coming up too. The Gender Election Monitoring also issued its preliminary report on female election participation in May 2013. And the mission head Sabra Bano observed, despite pre-election threats and attacks, a large number of female voters from all age groups showed up enthusiastically to cast their votes. And that is the will of the woman that works for all. Then there is a terror factor. A rising trend of Islamist extremism and fundamentalism, which underpins the terrorism in Pakistan, has added more to the current deluge of violence against women. The violence against women is almost seen as a moral duty for a very great moral cause. But Islam does not permit any discrimination between men and women, nor does it advocate a segregation between them as it may be widely understood because of cultural practices or views. The educational establishments of girls are among the main targets of terror, primarily in the tribal areas. We know the Malala Yousafzai, people are still very unhappy with her because she says, we don't need guns, we need books. And if we conclude out of all this scenario here, that a country that came into existence with the pretext of Islam, it is very disheartening to see the religious and Quranic principles are frequently avoided and twisted, especially regarding status of women. Incidentally, the social evils against which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ fought for the entirety of his life are deep-rooted in the Pakistani society, and the so-called guardians of the faith take them as customary to punish women and ostracize them. The common practice of justifying violence and brutality in the name of Islam, it needs to be readdressed. It needs to be re-understood. Under such a situation, frequent training and awareness programs are needed to be arranged periodically to make women aware of their rights and equip them for exercising just demands. As it has been suggested that various cottage industries by the public as well as private sector should be established to provide job opportunities to rural women that they can earn income and help their heads and household expenses. It's not only the question of economics of a country that we need women to participate. It's basically the personality of a society, the whole social setup. The question is of morality, that how do we justify equality, what Islam promotes, and by segregation. Think about it. You can read the chapter in your book. See you next time. Thank you.